y'all, welcome back to Ascending with Ashley. I'm Ashley. This is just a collective conversation, I guess. Just want to talk about triggers, because as we heal, triggers come, and we have to work with those. So let's talk about it. Triggers are things that make you feel uncomfortable or bring out an unwanted feeling within you or emotion. And sometimes those can cause people to go a little cray-cray, right? Like emotionally, physically, behaviorally, people can freak out if they feel triggered enough, right? I think a sign of high intelligence is when triggered how people move. And that takes a lot of self-control, which takes a lot of self-knowing, right? So ultimately, when we feel, Mr. Hoodie is just taking up my whole table. He might be belly rubbed. I'm wearing my mountain earrings for this conversation because it is like climbing a mountain. It can feel daunting to not allow triggers to upset you. And a lot of people within the New Age spirituality just want to love and light triggers away. Over here, though, we delve into the uncomfort and figure out why, right? I'm getting that image right now of like a trunk, like olden days trunks where people would use them as luggage, and like someone's like digging through it, right? Like looking for something. That's what we do over here with triggers, right? We figure out why that's making us feel a certain way, and we don't project it on others, right? So yeah, I challenge you, the next time you have a trigger, right, instead of avoiding it, right? Like I don't really do trigger warnings. Sometimes when I use the crime deck, just because the images are really intense, but I think when we embody our darkness, triggers are an important communication, right? That's a communication from your nervous system about whether or not you're going to allow a mistreatment again, right? So like, say someone says something in passing, right? You don't even know this person, you're just in public, and they say something to you and it makes you immediately feel uncomfortable, not in like a predator way, but it's exerting an emotion out of you that you don't want to feel. That's a trigger, right? And instead of cussing this motherfucker out who said it because they're just saying something random, right? You hold on to that feeling for a sec. You take a step back and you're like curious and not judgmental about your body's reaction to that. And more than likely, it's something that you've been through with someone else, right? That has nothing to do with the person in front of you, right? And that's when, that's why society is the way it is, because a lot of people will project that feeling onto the person that they're in a situation with in this moment where that feeling has arisen, has come back. Anyway, instead of, why do I feel like that? Oh, because it is reminding me of this situation and that person. Ugh, I don't want to feel this. Let me just release this feeling. Okay. And then you can like just go back to the situation and be like, yeah, cool, whatever. All right. Nonchalant, detachment, right? The art of detachment. I did a video about emotional manipulation a couple days before the election. But I was specifically speaking about the emotional manipulation in which the systems that be utilized to keep people in a frenzy, making bad choices, right? So emotionally, when you allow people to control your emotions, when you don't have control of those yourself, when you allow people to trigger you, and instead of owning that trigger, because it's essentially a feeling within you that has nothing to do with anyone outside of you, it's just something that needs a little bit of attention. And I think that triggers are really important for shadow work, right? I also think that sometimes the universe will align you with said triggers and not so much test, but see how you're going to react to it this time, right? And as you heal, like legit heal, right? You're not going to be bothered by triggers anymore. You're going to be like, ugh, whatever, or not even. But when you allow people to have control over your emotions or make you feel a certain way or respond a certain way, right? That is when people can control you. Systemically, interpersonally, communally, whatever it is. So that is the process of getting so familiar. Shadow work is getting so familiar and like befriending your triggers, understanding why they are triggers to you, right? Oh, it's because of that time I got hurt. And that takes a fuck ton of introspection. It takes the ability to detach from those emotions. And it also takes the ability to allow yourself to finally feel however you need to feel to release it, right? When we are triggered, our body, our nervous systems will put us back into, if depending on the trigger, it could put us back into a space of fight or flight, right? You don't want to stay there. And if you get to a point that you're able to acknowledge that's what's happening, that's when you have your power back. And then moving forward, once you do have that power back, being careful to not trigger others, right? Sometimes you are that person in someone's life, but not intentionally. When you get to a place of healing, you don't conduct yourself in like an asshole way of being, right? You're not like just going around being a dick to everybody because you can, right? Those are folks who are really unhealed. Those are people who have no idea who they are, what they're doing, And so also take that with a grain of salt. If you do come in contact with a very, very unhealed person, I hope that you're able to take a step back and be like, maybe I am the person that person needed, right? I don't know. The way that the universe works is very intense. I really like to think about, I don't call them coincidences, but I like to think about the ways that people cross people's paths. The way that we all have different experiences. One of the things I have in our art space is, we've all had a journey and we're all here together. And I like to think about the ways in which we do come into contact with others. It's like a beautiful chaos, And at the end of the movie Eat, Pray, Love, Julia Roberts says something along the lines of, I should put it on. Hang on, let me get it verbatim. It's going to take a sec. So anyway, what was your last trigger? All right, first off. And a lot of the times when we aren't healed, we will feel the need to cope, right? We might pick up a behavior or habit that we know is not for our best interest. Smoking, drinking, we're human, right? That shit happens. For one of my things, I like to cycle through things, addictions. Get to a point where you aren't using those things as like a coping mechanism or as like I don't know. I've been drinking a lot of wine lately, but I've been having fun and I've been really enjoying myself, and I'm allowing that because I deserve it. Do I need the wine for that? No. But I'm also allowing myself to do that, It's a fine balance. So, but if you get so triggered, right? I'm not doing it out of a place of trigger. I'm doing it out of a place of, I just want to fucking drink some wine and listen to music, you know? Chill out. When I was in college, my nickname was Smashly. Okay, this is where the quote is, this part of the movie. So I have to be very careful with my alcohol consumption. But anyway, okay. So you don't want to get triggered to a point of falling back into addiction. Okay, in the end, I've come to believe that physics of the quest. Can you hear it?
A force in nature governed by laws as real as the laws of gravity. The rule of quest physics goes something like this. If you're brave enough to leave behind everything familiar and comforting, which can be anything from your house to bitter old resentments, and set out on a truth-seeking journey, either externally or internally. And if you are truly willing to regard everything that happens to you on that journey as a clue, and if you accept everyone you meet along the way as a teacher, and if you are prepared, most of all, to face and forgive some very difficult realities about yourself, then the truth will not be withheld from you. Felipe? I can't help but believe it, given my experience.
I love the end of, I love love stories. Right, they're gonna cross over together, but that's the quote I was thinking. Take every trigger as a guidance or a teacher, right? You don't have to get mad about it. You don't have to feel a way about it. You can just take it for what it is, right? And doing the introspection, I love this movie so much. Doing the introspection work will make those triggers less and less and less and less every fucking day. You're gonna feel better. You're gonna feel more you. What other people say to you, you know, and then you're gonna become that pillar of light. Was that yesterday's reading? I don't know. We talked about becoming a pillar of light by doing your own shadow work, right? Stop shitting on everyone around you and just sit with yourself and your feelings for a minute. You can do therapy, you can work with people, you can do journaling. There's lots of healthier coping mechanisms than drowning it or smoking it away. I totally understand those two things. Like I said, we're all human, right? And we are cyclical beings, so we come in and out of cycles, right? And then other people are also doing their own cycles, nature's doing their own cycles, capitalism's doing their own cycles. So all right, I'm gonna let you go. Tiny's over here now, so I'll see y'all later. Don't let people fuck you up. Stay true to your path, and practice. Life is a practice. Like, practice. If you work around a lot of people or you go somewhere with a lot of people, set an intention of being like, I want one person to at least trigger me so that I can practice my emotional response. Okay. All right. Have a good one.